testing out with, the Pro microphone. I've had this for over 20 years. The Newman TLM 103. Yeah, I was doing podcasts before, people like Cliff Clear were even born. Yeah, it's back when I retired, like, before he was born. Anyway, I did my blood work today. Ooh, we can see that bruise. Ow. So take it easy. If I was a pro, I would have bags of blood. Bags and bags. In the fridge. But I don't. And I don't have a blood boy either. You should get one. Makes it a lot easier. Just, transfuse, plug it back in there. Yeah, I don't need that. But it takes a while to recover from it. So I didn't get any exercise in today. And of course, no supplements for the last 3 days. And this will be interesting because usually when I do my blood test once a year, I try to be clean, for the first week, the week right before, But like last year, I was like drinking, like right before, the night before, had a glass of wine. Just to test it out. But this month, I did, actually it's been over a month now, no alcohol. It's really had a big effect on me. Really interesting. Certainly on my weight. Dropped a lot. Tons. Body fat way down there. So, that's just what I wanted to do. Test this out. Of course, luckily this is a good time to do this test because the air here in the Bay Area has just been horrid. In the red. I could still go out, but, I'm going to get sore throat. So I always test the air, the quality, purple air, see what it's doing. It's pretty bad right now. Sort of looks like that. Ew! So, yeah, it's sad. Sad, sad. A lot of cars, driving. I try not to drive. Maybe once a month, every other month. And of course, it depends on your whole lifetime average. So I did a calculation before. I'm like at 5 tons per year, somewhere around there. I did do like 2 international flights in my lifetime. To India, of course. Wow. And it was funny. You fly into Thailand and it's like, wow, this is the worst I've ever seen. Then you fly into India. So you can't even see the floor. You can't even see the ground at all. It's just like, gone. And then at the end of the trip, you fly back through Thailand and you go, wow, this is the cleanest air I've ever seen. And I don't know if you've seen Delhi. Their air quality has been like 4 times worse, like 400. Sad. A lot of, premature death in that. Yeah, sad. Personally, I try to avoid, I don't eat meat. Never. I haven't since I was 16, 1980. It's when I became a vegan, radical vegan. And that was before I even knew I had high cholesterol or anything like that. And I also have the high ApoB, which is the serious one. Yeah. So this blood test actually showed me that I had the genetic disorder that I thought I had, and my doctors refused to give me the test. Yeah. So I had to figure it out myself. I figured I did. By that point, I figured I had it, and my doctors were just never going to help me. So the blood test actually confirmed it, which is good. Not much you can do. If you have high ApoB, I don't think there's really any medication. Nothing. I'm not anything, and luckily I had my artery scanned and, 0.00% plaque. They just do that carotid with ultrasound. Yeah. And also, I've did my, I did the course of DEXA's VO2 max tests. And the DEXA said, my bones are fine, above average. And I don't know if you see, there's a podcast, Road Cycling Academy or something, and they said, cyclists have terrible bones, weaker than a sedentary person. How is that possible? Okay, I don't go to the gym at all. Of course, me at the gym, could you imagine? Yeah, they would laugh at me. And in San Francisco, you just don't bend over. So no, I don't do any, strength training like that at all. The only training I do really is, I do a lot of big ring. I rarely use the front small ring at all. 53 teeth up the hill. That's about my only real exercise. That and just pushing as hard as I can. But nothing else for my bones, but it turned out fine. My theory is it has to do with too much vitamin D. Because when I found out, doing my blood test, I had really low vitamin D. It's below what was back at the time, 30 was considered low, and mine was below that. It was 28, 29. And taking vitamin D actually lowered my vitamin D level. So that told me I also have a different genetic disorder. And taking vitamin D for me just made me sick. And for other people that don't have what I've got, they've been told, take a lot of vitamin D for performance, for health, for everything. What could go wrong? Well, it could make your bones really weak. So what it could do is if you take too much vitamin D and you don't do things correctly, such as, the magnesium and all this other stuff you got to take, K2, I take them all, then the calcium just flees your bones into your bloodstream. So that's why you have to monitor your calcium levels in your blood. And you have to monitor yourself because your doctor won't give a fuck at all. No, they won't care. They want you to be sick. They love your arteries to be all blocked up because most people, as you know, die from heart disease. And, taking calcium pills is like one of the worst things you could possibly do for your heart. Yeah. Yeah, and taking vitamin D if you don't need it. So I rarely take vitamin D. Although this year, it was, San Francisco, we had the worst summer, long decades. No sun. So I also have low body fat. Because it turns out, the vitamin D is stored in your body fat. And during the winter times, if you burn off the fat, exercise a lot, you can reuse that vitamin D that's stored in your body fat, which I don't have. So during December up to January 5th here, I take a little bit. Although today we got some sun eventually, sort of weak sun, yellow, because the sky was just so dirty. So probably couldn't get much vitamin D if I even tried. Yeah. But vitamin D from your sun exposure supposedly lasts several days, 4 or 5 days, whereas taking it with a supplement wears off really quick, a day or two. So just something to be aware of. And one thing I do to monitor my vitamin D level, I think it's just for me, is my nails. So right now they're fine. If I take too much vitamin D, my nails just get really hard, like claws. And if I don't take enough, they get very soft and brittle. But of course, it's a lagging indicator. So usually by February, I'll go, wow, my nails are so weak. I should have taken more vitamin D. That's how I do it. And today I did this blood test and I don't eat meat. So iron, I have to take a lot of iron. Otherwise, I'll cramp up terribly. Because I had that happen 2 years ago. So I did this blood test and the AI came back and said, actually, no, not the AI. They actually called me and said, hey, your iron saturation is way too high. You need to see a doctor. See a doctor. Yeah, all right. Why am I doing these tests if I had a doctor? So I cut off the iron. I actually wasn't taking a supplement, but I always cooked with cast iron. That was my iron, supplement basically, is cooking in cast iron every day. So I stopped. I went to stainless steel for the year. And so by the end of the year, and I'm waiting for the results to come in, and I'm like, oh, do I even want to see the results? And then I started cramping, and terrible abdominal cramps. And I eventually, got my results, and my iron was all the way, just almost at anemia before they took the 12 tubes of blood. And so, yeah, it pushed me right over. So now I know what the women feel. So now I make sure to take iron. But that's just for me. And it's why I also take this blood test once a year to make sure all my levels are not too high or too low. But too high is pretty bad because you can really mess yourself up if you take any supplements at all. So that's, and, it's just my biomarkers are really normally pretty good. So I don't really need to take this advanced biomarker test, which I do every year. It costs like $1,000. I can go with the more basic one probably next year if I want. It's only half the blood and half the cost. Because nothing really changes much. Most of them are hopefully, they're genetic and they're not going to go up or down. And I'm not taking like any EPO or anything to mess up with my blood. Yeah, I don't take anything. And this year, what was the first time before the test it is. So every year I cut off alcohol and usually caffeine, but not this year. But not at the same time I do my blood tests for some reason, right? They never correlate because, for whatever reason. And this year they did. I haven't had any alcohol for a month right now. Made a big difference, I think, but we'll have to wait and see what the blood tests say. We'll see if it says anything. It'll be interesting. I should get the results in like 2 weeks. Right now I'm just making dinner because I am so hungry. Because, you have to fast. And the test wasn't until, 10:30 in the morning. Then it's like, oh, you got to cook. You got to eat. Deal with everything. Do a podcast. Yeah, I'm actually just testing out the microphone and show that I got, real microphone. I also have this one. This is a reference microphone. I've got that one too. And of course the guitar. All plugs in to my audio interface. Yeah, I've got a lot of audio interfaces. Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time. Anyway, I think my battery's about to die on my camera. Yeah. Anyway, have a nice day.